again and welcome to GPA Distance Learning. Our lesson for today is all about fractions as one whole. Before we are going to start, if I will say class, you will say yes. Class, 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 class. Now that's great. Now let's move here to our big question. How can whole numbers be represented as a fractions? Now let's move here to our vocabulary words. Now when you say numerator, it tells how many equal parts are being considered. So if you can see it here, 1 is our numerator. How about the denominator? When you say denominator, it tells how many equal parts there are. So 3 is our denominator. Don't forget, upper number, the numerator, and the bottom number is the denominator. Now what is a fraction? Remember numerator and denominator? I have here 3 figures. One here is our numerator. And the second figure, 1 also is the numerator. And the third figure, 3 is the numerator. Remember, when you say numerator, the number of parts shaded in. We are going to check this figure. How many number of parts shaded in? So there are 1, 2, 3. So that's why we put here 3. Don't forget, when you say numerator, the number of parts shaded in. Now let's move to denominator, the bottom number. So here, when you say denominator, it is the total number of parts. Now we are going to check this figure. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there are 4 total number of parts. So that's why we put here 4. Now let's move in fractions as whole numbers. Now here is the rule. If the numerator and the denominator are the same, the fraction is equivalent to 1. I have here an example. 4/4. Again, the numerator and the denominator are the same. The fraction is equivalent to 1. Then we are going to use a figure to understand more. So since our denominator here is 4. Remember denominator, the total number of parts. So we are going to put here 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, we are done with denominator. Let's move to our numerator. Remember, when you say numerator, the number of parts shaded in. So we are going to shade here 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we shaded already 4. So if you have noticed this figure, we shaded the whole shape. So this one is equivalent to 1 whole. So don't forget, if the numerator and the denominator are the same, the fraction is equivalent to 1. So let's have another example. Here, our figure here, and the fraction is 5/5 or 5/5, and it is equivalent to 1. Again, if the numerator and the denominator are the same, the fraction is equivalent to 1. Now let's check again another example. 8/8, and it is equivalent to 1. Now let's check again another example. 5/5 is equivalent to 1. 6/6 is equivalent to 1. 8/8 is equivalent to 1. And 9/9 is equivalent to 1. Remember, when the numerator and the denominator are the same, the fraction is equivalent to 1. Now let's move to the second rule. If the denominator is 1, the fraction is equivalent to the whole number represented by the numerator. I have here an example. 3/1 is equivalent to 3. Now let's go back to the rule. If the denominator is 1, so our denominator here is 1, right? So the fraction is equivalent to the numerator. So what is our numerator here? This is 3. So it is equivalent now to 3. So that's why 3/1 is equivalent to 3. Now we are going to use a figure so it's easy for us to understand. Remember, 1 here is our denominator. And denominator is the total number of parts. So we are going to put here 1 part, since it is 1. But if you're going to check our numerator here is the number of parts shaded in. But we have only one part, so we need another 2. So that's why we are going to put here 2. So we are going to shade all the 3 parts. So if you have noticed, we have now 3 parts. So that's why 3, 1 is equivalent to 3. Now let's check these examples. Write a fraction to represent shaded part of each whole or set of wholes. Now when you say each whole, we are referring to this figure. Now how about set of wholes? We are referring to this figure. Now we are going to answer this figure first, and we're going to find out the denominator first. So here. So remember, when you say denominator, the total number of parts. We are going to count how many number of parts here on this figure. Now we are going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8 parts. So we are going to put here in our denominator 8. How about our numerator? Remember, the number of parts shaded in. So if you have noticed, we shaded all the parts. And then how many parts in this figure? There are 8, right? So we are going to put here 8. We are done in this figure. Now we are going to move here. So we will start in our denominator. Remember again, denominator, the total number of parts. So if you have noticed in this set of wholes, there is only one part. One part, 1, 1, and 1. So we are going to put here 1. How about in our numerator? The number of parts shaded in. So how many parts shaded in here? There are 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we put here 4. So remember the rule? So if our denominator is 1, then our numerator is equivalent to our fraction. So that's why 4, 1 is equivalent to 4. Now let's move here to our next figure. Now 8, 8. Remember the first rule? If the numerator and denominator are the same, the fraction is equivalent to 1. So 4, 1 is equivalent to 4, and 8, 8 is equivalent to 1. Now let's have our quick review. Now complete the table by writing a fraction to represent the shaded part of each whole or set of wholes. Now let's start here to the set of wholes. Now what is your answer? The answer is 3, 1. Why? Remember, denominator is the total number of parts. And then how many parts? There is only one part, 1 and 1. So we are going to put here 1. How about our numerator? The total number or the number of parts shaded in. So we shaded 1, 2, 3. That's why we put here 3 in our numerator. Now, you are going to answer on your own in this 3. So I'm going to give you 5 seconds to answer. Let's start on the second figure. Timer starts now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. What is your answer? The answer here is 4/4 because we shaded all the parts and there are 4 parts. So let's move to the third figure. I'm going to count again 5 seconds for you to answer. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The answer is 4, 1 because this is a set of wholes and there is only one part here. So that's why we put here 1 in our denominator. How about the last figure? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. What is your answer? The answer here is 6, 6. Now let's move again to another statement. Then you're going to find the answer here. What is the missing word here? I'm going to count 5 seconds for you to answer. Blank tells how many equal parts are being considered. What is your answer? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The answer is numerator. Again, numerator tells how many equal parts are being considered. Now let's move here. Blank tells how many equal parts there are. So what is your answer here? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The answer here is denominator. Remember, denominator, the total number of parts. Now, that ends our lesson for today. I think you're ready now to answer the online quiz posted in the Google Classroom. Thank you and have a good day.